Michael Jackson's vote was just one of six when it came to group decisions. The five brothers plus Joseph when Jermaine left the group. Yo Rainey took his place in the lineup, though he would rarely sing leads. Marlon took most of Jermaine's parts in the songs, and Jermaine's solo hits were, of course, never performed by the group. Though it was obvious that Michael was probably the most important member of the group, their family did not want to allow him any special consideration. It was feared that if he was bolstered too much, Michael might one day have the confidence to separate himself from the group, which was the last thing they wanted to happen. Michael recognized their fear. They don't listen to me because they're afraid to, he said to one associate. I guess I can understand it. They don't want to lose me. They don't want me to have too much power, but it makes me sad. When Joseph signed the boys to CBS TV to do a television series in 1976, Michael made it clear that he did not want to participate. However, he was outvoted. The Jacksons was a 30-minute program that ran for 4 weeks, featuring the family with celebrity guest stars. The first episode aired June 16th, 1976, as in the family's Vegas act. Latoya, Janet, and Raby participated in the series too. It was the first time a black family had ever starred in a television series, and if the show received decent ratings, there was a chance CBS might pick it up on January as a mid-season replacement. Malcolm was miserable because of a grueling production schedule. There was no time for him to polish any of the routines. He loved going on stage feeling unprepared. He hoped that the show would not be renewed. Unfortunately for him, the ratings were still enough for CBS to order more episodes. To begin airing line, today he refers to the venture as that stupid TV series. It was a dumb move to agree to do it, he says, and I hated every minute of it. In the end, Michael's instincts about the pro group were inadvertently on target. The Jacksons proved to be more trouble than it was worth. Apparently, someone at CBS TV, probably a helpless assistant in the art department, accidentally used a picture of the old Jackson 5 with Jermaine in a TV guide advertising for the Jackson series. As soon as Joseph alerted CBS to the mistake, the network pulled the ad and sent a letter to Motown apologizing for it and promising that it will never happen again. Too late, Motown used the group as an opportunity to amend its original lawsuit against the group, raising the damages sought from $5 million to $20 million. Michael Roskin said the mistake had a severely damaging effect on our credibility and caused us real dollar damage. The allegation was extreme. The ad was one half of a page. Its artwork so blurry, no one can even recognize Jermaine in the picture. It is obvious that Joseph was not the only one holding a grudge. Joseph tried to prove that he had been treated unfairly by Motown, even going so far as to forsake his pride. He admitted in his depo- deposition that on that fateful day in Detroit, July 26, 1968, when he sat with Barry's attorney Ralph Sessler and was presented with the contract. He didn't read it before allowing his children to sign it. Ralph even backed Joseph up and me in his disposition. I do not recall that any of them, the Jackson Five or Joseph Jackson, went through in its entire party to sign it. Why not? Joseph explained. Because the extent of my formal education is through the 11th year of high school. The 1968 contract with Motown was the first record contract that it was ever present with or even looked at. Joseph's statement didn't seem likely since his sons were signed to Steel Time Records before they were signed to Motown, unless they hadn't read the contract either. Joseph had to admit that he also didn't read the parental agreement after he signed it, which said that he will make certain his sons abided by the provisions of the Motown recording contract. In truth, Joseph hadn't read anything. He just signed the contract, were constructed to sign it. He wanted his kids to make it. He would have done anything for them. Of course, he signed a contract. In the end, Barry would be awarded $600,000 in damages, including unpaid advances and some compensation for the group having signed with CBS before the Motown contract had officially expired. He was also paid compensation for damages suffered when Joseph was not allowed the boys to record new songs for Motown. This after he figured out the group owed $500,000 for all the other ones they recorded for that hadn't been released. And all the Jacksons paid Gordy and company about $2 million to leave Motown. More important, and maybe surprisingly to some, the Jacksons agreed to surrender royalties due to them on recordings they made before December 1st, 1979, and on future releases of recordings made before March 11th, 1976. In other words, on all of their hits. In exchange, Motown agreed to accurately account for and pay royalties on any new product, which included pre 1976 recordings that have been recorded but not yet released, and on any Best of My albums they may put out in the future. It actually wasn't unusual for a Motown act to abandon their royalties in order to sell things with Motown. However, in retrospect, it often proved to be a bad decision for them, which may be one of the reasons there were so many former Supremes, Marvelettes, Vandellas, Temptations, and Miracles who today find themselves in dire financial straits. When the judge ruled in Motown's favor, Motown's vice president, Michael Rushkin, said, "This is a gratifying day, not because of our winning, but because it was a matter of principle." It was enough to make some observers sick to their stomachs. The first Jackson's album for CBS, The Jacksons, was released in the spring of 1977 on the Epic label. The album had a lot of going for it. Blues Away, one of the first songs Michael had ever written, and Style of My Life, or Style of Life. Written by the brothers were both included. Those two songs were co-produced by the Jacksons, so they were actually doing that for which they left Motown. For the rest of the album, executive producers Gamble and Huff recruited their staff producers Dexter Wenzel, Jim McFadden, and John Wyatt to assist them in compiling a strong, if not innovative, collection. Michael says he learned a great deal from working with Gamble, Huff, and Company in terms of structure and melody and what he calls the anatomy of a song. The Jacksons spawned one major hit for the group, Enjoy Yourself, for their first single for Epic, a a rollicking dance number. It went on to become their most successful record since Dancing Machine 3 years earlier. The single went to number 6 on the pop charts, but because it was the only hit from the album, the Jacksons peaked at only number 36 in the American charts. Not great. In the UK, Enjoy Yourself didn't even chart the first release when it was reissued, but still cracked the top 400. The international record buying public seemed confused, maybe because Motown issued its own Jackson's album joyful jukebox music compiled from some of those previously unreleased songs for which the group had been charged. It would seem like a crass attempt to cash in on CBS's promotion of the group. The Motown album was the first Jackson 5 album not to enter the top 200 in America and even worse in the UK. It also served to let the impact of the new CBS product. As Michael put it, Barry White was playing hardball, of course. We're doing this for 10 minutes. The Jacksons' showing on the pop charts proved disappointing, but not as upsetting as the showing of Jermaine's record. After all the public and private angst about whether he should go with his Spotlight Brothers or stay with Gordy, My Name is Jermaine peaked at just 164 in the top 200. This single, Let's Be Young Tonight, only went to number 55. In the UK, Jermaine didn't matter to all record buying audiences. This was a terrible shame. Jermaine deserved better from Motown in terms of promotion. The one who had to wonder what Motown's intentions were where Jermaine's career was concerned. As it would turn out, he only had a few hits at the company, never really fulfilling his potential there. He should have been a much bigger star for Motown. He had everything going for him. The Jacksons continued to tour without Jermaine. It was business as usual. They performed in Memphis, Tennessee in May 1977. During that engagement, Michael had to escape to the roof of a local department store where tens of thousands of people caused a near riot as they waited in line for hours hoping to jam into store's record department where Michael had promised to autograph copies of the Jacksons. That same night, backstage before the show, John Seaver, who worked for the firm that promoted the Memphis engagement, later recalled, I showed a Billboard article to Michael that said album saying Jermaine's Motown album was a big bomb. It made unfair comparisons to the Jacksons album, saying that it was a smash. Michael didn't say anything at first. Then he commented, "Oh, he'll bounce back. I knew it. Jermaine's not. Jermaine won't let this get to him." He seemed genuinely sorry for his brother. The article was passed along to other brothers who scanned it. Marlon said something about too bad. Taylor said the album wasn't any good, but Jermaine will probably come up with something stronger next time out. No matter what, he's our brother, Tia said, and I don't like seeing him to do anything that's not success. Just proves, I think, that Barry doesn't know what he's doing. They all just agree with Tito. When Joseph came into the dressing room, what are you boys reading? Jack handed him the article. Read this about Jermaine, he said. Joseph read the feature quickly. Well, you know, I think it serves Jermaine right, he said as he smacked the magazine on the table. He then walked away. The brothers looked at each other with raised eyebrows. There was silence. It had been difficult for them to recognize Joseph's pain, the betrayal he felt, not to mention the way he felt taken advantage of by the Motown machinery. Of course, Joseph never revealed himself to his family in a way that might bring that any kind of understanding for him. Therefore, he never got it. As he walked out of the door, Michael gave him a cool, appraising glance. Son, father, he muttered.